Because, yeah, especially because it didn't even serve the same purpose, which I mean, like, maybe that was, like, intentional in some way because, you don't want to really be seen like you're ripping off the idea all the way.
Mhm.
But, like, in The Dark Knight Rises, at least the feeling that I got, was that it was like, this is like the overwhelmingness of 24/7 media, like it's all like all of these different events happening and like, just like how like overwhelming it is, to see.
Yeah, we can do Spawn. I know I should be more
So
excited because I chose it, but man, these 6 issues,
yeah,
like nothing happened in these 6 issues.
yeah,
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
yeah. What'd you think, Shawenta?
I was really enjoying like reading a lot of text actually for the first 2 or 3 issues, and then it became like, oh, there's more. There's more, huh?
Yeah, no, they stinked for me,
Yeah,
it was like
it was a weird juxtaposition because like the intro of the book, the like intro on the back, the like author's word, like everything says like Spawn is the most successful independent comic ever launched, and I'm like, then I read the first 6 issues.
Right.
How was it ever successful?
Okay, I feel
Yeah.
like every time I read anything from Spawn, I was like, I'm thinking of something that I've read already, and I think that's probably like it influenced that rather than like, so it was unique for its time, but like a little bit.
I thought that I was very surprised. So how I compared Spawn would be like if Peter Parker lived in Gotham. Like that's how I thought of it.
No.
Well, because they mixed. It was very dramatic. There was a lot of drama.
Are you saying like that's your perception before you read it, or like
No. As I was reading it, I thought this is like if Peter Parker lived in Gotham, because there was a lot of drama, and him being
felt
like, "Oh my
Deadpool
gosh,"
without any of the comedy.
Yeah.
Because it was just like the first Deadpool movie or whatever, where he's like, "Oh my god, my face, my wife, and all that."
Yeah.
Without any of the funny parts.
There was a lot of drama, and it was not even exciting drama. It was just like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe 5 years of my life is gone. Where's my wife?" I'm like,
I do like where he's like, "Oh, she's so hot," and they keep showing that like one picture of her that's like not that well drawn.
But then when you see her though, that's another story.
I was gonna say yes. Once you actually get to see her in the flesh, you're like, "Oh, I can see. She's pretty."
Yeah.
I guess it's like more of a indictment of all other comics that were being released at this time. That Spawn was super successful.
For context, this comic was released in 1992. So
yeah, I believe this predates all of us, right?
Yeah.
Because like I'm 99. Like everybody else, like I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure this predates all of us. So maybe we're just out of touch. We're just kids who don't get it. Maybe that's why.
What?
But
yeah.
I mean,
I've never
but
been
here's
married, but I don't relate to a man being like, she's happy, she's remarried, and she has a kid. Oh, she's so happy without me. Like, get over it.
I know. Oh my goodness. Also, like Todd McFarlane in one of the little like, excerpts from his interview with Miller World that's like, in between the issues, he was all like, this is like, just as good as like any comic that's been released in the last 13 years.
Yeah.
That's 1979 to 1992. And I'm like, no, you're wrong.
Because
Oh,
like
so
I
he's
didn't
like,
want to
that's
put
including.
I didn't want to put
That would be
anybody
including.
down.
So like, I mean, the art's really good. I like the art,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
like
I
at
don't
the
normally
back.
like that kind of art, yeah, but like with the colors, it really made it work.
It's interesting you mentioned the colors because like there were a couple of the covers at the very back that they include in black and white, and I think the black and white is more effective.
Well, the covers, like when there's a ton of black, but they seem to go with like these really scribbly thin lines for a lot of the comic panels, and those ones just aren't super interesting to me unless they have the color.
I guess that's true. But yeah, so like past 13 years from this would include Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen. I'm sure there are others, but those are the two like right off the top.
Patting himself
Yeah,
on the back.
Frank Miller's Daredevil.
Oh no.
Yeah, it would include let's see here, like there's like, I mean, well, there's John Byrne's work on Fantastic Four, which I talked about him not being a good person, but he did like, you know, do a successful Fantastic Four run. There was a bunch of like really good Marvel and really good DC stuff. It's like,
Did Dark Knight Returns come out yet?
yeah.
Yeah, that was in like the 80s. So...
Yeah, 86 it says. And this made me think a lot like of the same thing with like the news coverage and stuff, but like it never kind of went anywhere.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I think that he would really just use that for exposition. I mean that.
Yeah, and that's like
he's very obviously he has the 3 different news people, so he's trying to do like this comparison of how people perceive events and their priorities and whatever, like that being fed back to the general populace. But like I don't think anything ever happens with that really.
Yeah.
It is definitely like a poor man's version of like those intercuts of like the news anchors from The Dark Knight Returns.
Because especially because it didn't even serve the same purpose, which I mean, like maybe that was like, you know, intentional in some way, because, you know, you don't want to really be seen like you're ripping off the idea all the way. But like, you know, in The Dark Knight Rises, at least the feeling that I got, you know, was that it was like, you know, this is like the overwhelmingness of 24/7 media, you know, like it's all like all of these different events happening, and like, you know, just like how like overwhelming it is, you know, to see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think that's because it's like this isolated element he took as compared to like all the different elements in The Dark Knight Returns, like adding up to that too.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, also another thing that like really, you know, it's funny because I feel like I'm able to like damn this comic a little bit more based on the words that they put from Todd McFarlane. But
yeah, it is an unfortunate special edition because technically, like I will say, like we didn't read like 6 individual print comics. It is the Origins collection, which is like, supposed to be like it's what they want you to have, basically, if you're rebuying them.
So that's even worse.
But in the beginning,
yeah, it's rough.
In the beginning, he says that I created this character in high school, and I just like I couldn't stop thinking about that because I felt so.
The fact that he was like, I created this in high school, and the design has not changed. He's like, I did good work then, and we are going with that.
I can relate to that though.
Like,
I have done that too, so I appreciate that.
I mean I have created like characters since I was 13 or younger, but that doesn't mean like I'm basing my whole life on some of the ideas I had then.
I mean,
I think that like the thing that got me with that like particular quote and was that like, you know, I just saw like it felt like a high schooler was all like, I'm gonna take all of my favorite characters and like, you know, put all of the things that I like about them into one story, but it's gonna be extra gory and extra guns and just like, you know, and it was like because it's like, there is something like, I see to what you're saying, Talon, about like, Peter Parker and Gotham, although I don't agree with that assertion all the way. It's like, because he's got like, Doctor Strange's like kind of magic and cape, but he's got like, he does, I feel like his social problems are definitely deviated from Peter Parker's, but he has social problems that any Marvel character would have. He has like, he's got like Ghost Rider a little bit. He's got like, he's got Batman. He's just like so many different character inspirations, but he isn't his own, it feels like.
Gotcha.
That's true. I don't like. It's okay to be like, oh, this makes me think of something, this other thing I've watched. But like when you're constantly feeling that way, like I thought of so many different things it kept making me think of.
I will say I've never seen Spawn full costume, but I really like his costume.
It's a little like 90s edge for me now.
Oh, okay.
Like especially with like all the chains, like. I like a cape. I'm not like an Edna mode, no capes. I like the dramatic effect of a cape. But like, this is a little much.
Oh, gotcha.
I'd say I like it. I like the design, but it's definitely the word edgy does very much suit it, and I feel like it's a little bit of an ironic like it. I hope that it's like self-aware enough, but I really doubt it.
That, it doesn't really read like it's self-aware enough.
Right, yeah.
But I like to believe it is. It's self-aware that it's cringy, and I love it for that. The design.
All right, so major thoughts. Oh, go ahead.
One more thing about the artwork. As I was reading this reminded me of, is it Maximum Carnage? Just in the artwork, how things were drawn. I was like, and that's the kind of stuff I like.
That might be Todd McFarlane, actually. He might have done Maximum Carnage.
It could be. I mean,
Sounds like something he would do.
Todd McFarlane had a run as an artist on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was it a long time? I don't know how long it was. But
it was at least a year, at least 12 issues.
Because
he did some work on, I can't remember if he did work on both Amazing and Spectacular, but then they also came out with a third Spider-Man title that was just titled Spider-Man with no adjectives, and he was issue number 1 on that.
I remember there's like a weird thing about his Spider-Man art where like in every issue there's like a Felix the Cat somewhere in the issue of Spider-Man that he wrote, which is like one of the most bizarre long-running artist Easter eggs that like people know about.
Huh, I had no idea. All I know about his Spider-Man is spaghetti webbing.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess major thoughts about Spawn. I'm not going to go into like the nitty-gritty, but let's like get through these 6 issues and roast it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, actually, one more general thing to say real quick is that I feel like it also suffers a lot in the way that, like, the argument for why they chose to introduce Robin in Batman comics, he doesn't have anyone to talk to, like, ever. He's just always internal monologuing, thinking about how sad he is.
What is it? The one character, the Violator? I really
I'm gonna say like the only like part I liked about that book was this book was the Violator.
When he's up on the church and like the Violator's just like down there. Why is that little man waving at me? I was like,
So I compared him to Danny DeVito.
I think he was written with Danny DeVito in mind.
Say that again?
Yeah.
I think he was written with Danny DeVito in mind. At least like as like in physical shape. Because this is like 3 years after. Oh no, it would have been. Oh, 2 years before Batman Returns, actually. Never mind. I was going to say, because he looks like Danny DeVito, like, as the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Except that was in 1994, I believe. So that would have been after this came out. So I would have been wrong saying that.